Hey there YouTube, welcome back to not really an update video, but more of a I suppose you could call it a resupply video with a little bit of an update, because I haven't really done that much painting since my black powder report. I've actually been more or less playing black powder. I think I've had like 4 games now, and I'm kind of setting up for a 5th. But first things first, Happy New Year to everyone. I'd just like to sort of thank I've had like a massive bunch of new subscribers lately, and you know, I'm pretty chuffed that people are kind of enjoying my videos. You know, I started this as a way of you know, just sort of showing off my work for my own benefit, really. You know, when I sort of sit back and think about it, it's you know, it's kind of a little bit humbling that I get any sort of people watching my videos, and I hope to you know, to obviously try and improve them a little bit in the future, and maybe have a little bit less shaky camera work, because I am pretty good at shaky camera work. But let's get this this little video off on a start. It's basically just, I suppose you could call it kind of like a Christmas haul video, because it's basically just new stuff I've picked up, and I suppose, and I have, like I said, I have got a little bit of an update, because literally the only thing I've been painting, and these guys aren't really quite finished yet, but these are basically the sort of the loose Voltiers that come in the Perry box set. I decided to sort of to put them together and just make them like a little unit on their own. I could just use as a little small unit of sort of independent skirmishers, and I'm actually going to convert this officer here, well, not convert him, but just paint his trousers blue and get rid of the red, and turn him into a light infantry officer, and just add him to the little group, and that'll just make a little independent squad of Voltiers who just go around independently. Just a little bit of extra, a little extra addition to the French forces. Like I say, I mean, these guys aren't finished, and they're not really up to my sort of standard yet, but I think they're pretty good figures. I do like the Perrys, and of course the other thing about the my Perrys box set is that I have actually managed to, with the addition of that command group and some leftover warlord guys, I've managed to actually make 2 more battalions of French infantry out of this one box set, so I'm really chuffed about that. So, you know, when you sort of think about it, for I think it was like literally 6 figures or something like that, and a command group, you actually have 1 box of Perrys, which I believe I got for under £20. I've actually made 2 battalions of infantry and a small section of Voltiers. So it's basically like three, you know, 2 battalions and a small regiment out of 1 box set. So I'm pretty chuffed at that. I mean, I'll give you a closer look at these guys. Obviously, they're not finished. They're basically just about finished the base colours, so they're not like, it's not shaded, it's not tidied up. But I've kind of mislaid my light infantry transfers, so I had to sort of hand paint the little trumpet on the back of their cartridge box. But like I say, I mean, I think they're pretty good figures, these guys. I mean, they look just a tiny bit thinner than warlord guys, just because they're sort of quite bulky in their sort of long coats. But the heads are more or less the same size, and obviously they're practically the same height. So I think they do really go quite well with warlord figures. And I'd say my only sort of complaint about these particular Voltiers is that they're a little bit limited in their poses. But you know, that aside, I do think they're a pretty good little unit. And like I say, I'm basically going to use them as sort of like a little independent regiment of light infantry that can just go around. You know, they're basically like roughly half the size of a battalion. I suppose it would count as a small unit, and you know, basically use them like that. And I might even though it's not particularly historically correct, I might do the same with either some King's German Legion, which actually would be historically correct, because the sort of the British division that I'm roughly basing most of my my infantry units on do actually have the King's German Legion attached to them. So I could theoretically, you know, as well as sort of adding sort of the battalions, I could just add like a little squad of those guys, or you know, go the more popular route and add a little unit of 95th, just to sort of make a British equivalent of these guys, and to sort of add to bulk up my British, basically. Because I think at the moment on paper, my French are actually kind of outnumbering my British, because of you know, just because of, you know, on paper, not necessarily in physicality, but you know, so I've got to sort of think about adding a few more things to my British, and I'm not 100% sure exactly what I want to add. I mean, I know I do want to add another 2 infantry battalions to my British, and then you know, I was obviously thinking about with the Hanoverians. Obviously, the Hanoverians are all you know, independent. They don't have all their units are sort of Hanoverian. So I was kind of thinking of perhaps, you know, maybe adding another couple of units of those guys. But anyway, let's get to, so that's the sort of the what I've been painting on my painting desk, and these guys have, you know, I've been going on these guys for several weeks now, and like I say, they're only basically just got their base colours finished, so they're probably going to take, at the way that I'm painting at the moment, they're probably going to take another couple of weeks to finish. But you never know, perhaps I get inspired and finish them off, because to tell you the truth, it's probably only another sort of hour or two's work to finish them off. So, you know, who knows. But like I say, I'm quite chuffed with those guys, and I think they make up quite a little sort of filler unit for one of my battalions. And I think they'll be quite effective. Okay, so that's those. Other thing, right, so start going into the stuff that I've acquired. I've picked up one more set of flags. These guys, I only really need one of them, but it does obviously give me the option to have another French battalion. So here we have the 22nd and the 70th, and just out of fluke, this was the division that I chose, the sort of the 3rd Corps, which strangely enough wasn't in the Battle of Waterloo. In fact, I'm sort of having trouble trying to find out exactly what happened to these guys, because they were around, and there was definitely a detachment of cavalry, you know, basically taken from the 3rd Corps and added to another division during Waterloo. But the actual the main bulk of the Corps wasn't there. So you know, I've sort of been looking around on the internet and stuff, and I haven't really found too much about it. So I have to do a little bit more further searching into that. But it's kind of strange how I ended up picking that division, because, like I say, it's kind of, it seems to be quite obscure, and the fact that it wasn't even, you know, played such a small part in the actual battle, it kind of eludes me as to how I chose it. I'm thinking back, I think it was literally because I managed to find that they had not only chasseurs de cheval, but also the light infantry battalion, and I ended up just choosing them from their flags. Just excuse me for a second, I'm just literally having to plug the power into my camera because it's getting down to like 1 bar. Here we go. Okay, so let's get on with the sort of the new stuff that I've picked up. Now, some of the stuff, this is all stuff I got for my birthday and for Christmas, and even though I helped my sister get me this stuff, it was all ordered from Wayland Games. So not only did it arrive way after Christmas, but also they sent me some wrong stuff. The wrong stuff mainly being, instead of Waterloo officers, they sent me Peninsular officers, which is probably not that much of a big deal. I was kind of looking at them, and you know, apart from the fact that they're wearing bicorns, and they're not really sort of dressed for the wet weather, I could probably get away with using these guys because they're not too different. But that's the minor gripe. The major gripe, and I'm still not 100% sure what I'm going to do about this, is that they sent me, instead of my 1812 to 1815 artillery, they sent me 1804 to 1812 artillery, which of course is completely wrong, and I'm kind of quite upset at it, really. And you know, all the lark of returning it and stuff is just too much bother for me, because like I say, I'm disabled, I have trouble getting to the post office. It'd just be a complete nightmare, and you know, you have to basically pay for your own return as well. So you know, and it's quite an expensive case. I'm kind of annoyed. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I mean, the thing that's kind of crossed my mind is to build them as 12-pounders, and use them as like use two of the guns and make another battery of sort of 12-pounders. Because obviously the 8-pounders weren't used at Waterloo. So I'm kind of stumped. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I mean, I've been looking at the sort of their uniforms, and they're not too different from the sort of 1815 uniforms, because you do get covered Shaco heads, but I really don't know what I'm going to do with them. So it's kind of disappointing, that kind of put a scupper to my plans, and I ended up having to actually order the actual Waterloo or the 1812 to 1815 set myself, but I didn't get it from Wayland because they're out of stock, so I ended up actually getting them from Victrix themselves, which of course cost a lot more cash. It cost like an extra 10% on the basic price, and then another £4 for postage. So that's not a particularly amazing start to the year there. However, the other three things that I've got were correct. So we have some Warlord French infantry colonels, and basically, I suppose my only gripe with these sort of these particular figures is that the horses are very small. I was kind of looking at them, and like they almost look like ponies. I mean, let me just put them up against a normal figure. I mean, look at this. It's like, when you kind of put the guy on it, it's like his feet are practically touching the ground. I mean, I suppose it doesn't look too bad there, but they're certainly not as big as the Chasseurs de Cheval horses. But all the same, I think they're pretty good figures. And obviously, you know, my plans for these guys are to basically be brigade commanders for my other brigades. So you know, at the end of the day, small horses or not, I'm pretty chuffed that I got those guys. And of course, I did get them for a pretty good price, which I can't complain about, really. Well, obviously I've got them as a present, but they were a pretty good price. Okay, so that's those. The second thing, of course, is the Victrix British artillery set, which I think is awesome. I mean, I think all these Victrix artillery sets are awesome. They obviously come with 5 crew, come with 3 guns and 3 limbers. You can't really go wrong with that, really. So I'm very chuffed with these guys, and of course, like I say, with this particular set and my cannon that came with the starter set, I'm going to basically have 2 batteries of 2 guns. So I'm pretty chuffed with that. So that's those. And the final thing is some Perry's light dragoons. And you know, when I was sort of, my sort of thinking behind these guys was that I wanted some cavalry for my allies, and I was just looking at them all, and it's like, obviously you got your choices. You got your Scots Greys, you got your dragoons, and you got your Union cavalry. And I thought, well, you know, oh, here we go, on the side here, British Hussars. That's the other unit. I decided to go for light dragoons just because I suppose they're uniforms, really. Plus the fact, you know, again, Wayland had these for a pretty good price, and like I say, obviously they're out of stock when they were ordered, so they came late, but obviously I've got them in hand now, and you know, at the end of the day they're a present, and I'm sort of very, very grateful for them, and I think they'll go great. And obviously I suppose they're a direct equivalent of the Chasseurs de Cheval of my French forces, so you know, it's a good start for the British to have some cavalry support. What exactly I'm going to do, I think probably I'm going to add. I probably am going to add at least another unit of cavalry to try and make them into their own independent brigade eventually. So, but I think for the sort of, at first they might be attached to a battalion. Probably my Hanoverians, just because they're a little bit on the lower side of being equipped. But like I say, for some bizarre reason, my French are sort of creeping ahead, both on paper and in physicality, ahead of my British. Just literally because obviously I had the Perry's box set and another box of Chasseurs de Cheval already. So that's basically this little update video. Sorry it's not particularly exciting, but it's basically just a news, an update video. I'm still, like I say, I'm still playing Black Powder at the moment. I think I've literally just set up to start my fifth game. I'm trying to sort of nail the rules down. And to tell the truth, I don't think I have actually probably 100% nailed them down yet. I think I'm still making some or at least what feel like mistakes. But you know, I'm sure I'll get there. I'm probably going to have at least one more game before I have to take my table down for a while. And who knows? Next time round, you know, perhaps when I get some more units done, I'll you know, put up another battle report. Because you know, even though it was, you know, I'm quite happy to say myself, it was pretty shoddy. For a first attempt, but I did enjoy it. It took a long time to do. It took 2 or 3 days to actually you know, to actually film and try and sort the editing out. And then of course there was that massive editing problem where it decided to wipe half of the video out as it was sort of finished off being published. For no real reason. I suppose it could be perhaps there's like a time limit or something. I'm not 100% sure, but that made me have to try and break it into 2 parts. And the place where it cut off was actually right in the middle of one of the other video sections, so I couldn't actually find the spot where it actually cut off. So there's a little bit of a repeat of the sort of the tail end of probably a good sort of 10 or 15 minutes of the video is probably just a repeat of what was in the first. So my advice to you is to, you know, fully watch the first part and then sort of just forward over some of the second part to get to sort of roughly the point where that first sort of repeated part finishes, and then you can sort of continue on watching the rest of the video, because I'm pretty sure, I think it's like 47 minutes long, the second part, where in reality it should only be about 30 or 35 minutes long. Anyway, that's that. Hopefully I'll be back fairly soon with some some kind of update, and that's that, I suppose. So once again, thanks to all my new subscribers, thanks to everyone who watched my videos, and hope to catch you again pretty soon. So until then, catch you later.